When I grab the book, you know I'm going to be academic on you, right? All right. Now, whenever I ask, what are the two greatest commandments, you're always going to spout out just what was said in the gospel today. Will you please remember that? That was kind of weak. Will you please remember that? You know why that's important? You know why? That's how you get to heaven. How many want to get to heaven? Raise your hand. The other people who didn't, where do you think you're going? I'm not even going to say the word. Now, dearest family, during these particular Sundays, we want to go deeper into our faith. Now, you've heard from me over the year that I've been with you in the way in which we take turns, the other priests and myself. And I've talked to you often about this idea of love. And I put it in a shorter form for you, saying that each morning after you say thank you to the Holy Trinity, you say to yourself, I'm going to endeavor to make one loving act after another. I've been over this with you several times. Is that not correct? All right, now we're going to take it a little deeper in a little bit different direction. Listen to this simple statement. All creation sings praise to God simply by being fully what the Creator intended. Hear this again. All creation sings praise to God simply by being fully what the Creator intended. Let's go back to some years back. I see a lot of you have ventured into the area in which I live. It's called the advanced age. And those who are preparing for the advanced stage are coming right after that. And there probably was a time in your life when you kind of said to yourself, I wish I was like somebody else. Did you ever have that feeling? Yep. I did too, especially around test time at school. That's when I really wanted to be like that. What this reading teaches us is this. It's not that those thoughts are not going to happen, but that we learn from creation. All of creation sings praise to God simply by being fully what the Creator intended. So when we cooperate with our God, and that's what we're going deeper into today, the ability to be in touch with that presence of God so that we continue to become the person God has called us to be. Because no matter what age you are, even if you're in my advanced age of 81, there's always going to be room for improvement. It's a growth process, and we're all involved in that. And I want to share with you a special time of the year. We call that fall. And the other day, it's a little harder, I must admit, when the weather's like today. But when that sun was out and the sun was shining on the trees, it was beautiful. And excuse me, and just when we thought we saw the most beautiful tree in the whole world, we found another one. And there's a sense inside of us that's good. And you will hear people say, I really enjoy this time of fall. Have we not heard that? Yeah. All right. Another thing people will say is, I really love this time of the year. I really love how pretty the trees are. Notice how our language begins to turn. As we're in touch with this fall and this beauty, the words that come out of our mouth are, I love this. That's when you and I are in touch with the natural world that is around us, appreciating it. And when you're in that beautiful setting, You feel good about who you are. You think good thoughts. And your response is, I love this. And that's exactly what God wants to happen. It is from those experiences that we continue to choose to love. Now, I want to tell you a simple story. Those of you who are younger may not believe this. But years ago, when you raked up the leaves in town, those of us who lived in the country didn't have to worry about it. But you used to rake from the front of the house into the street. Then you set it on fire. Can you imagine doing that today? I'd be visiting you over there at the jail. And they'd put you in the top floor. We just don't do that. So, for that reason, sometimes we'll miss what is going on. But another part of that is, you notice that sound when you walk through leaves? And even when you're older like them, you still kick at the leaves. It's not as high, but I still kick at the leaves and you hear that sound. And you can't help but feel good about that. And then I remember a specific instance, because my folks had 2.5 acres, there were a lot of leaves, is that we'd collect the leaves, put them in this trailer, put a tarp over them. Then I would crawl into the trailer, lay down on those leaves, and fall asleep. It was the best darn nap you ever had. It was wonderful. Other of you have done other things like that. I remember making a mistake, piling up the leaves, but I didn't know there was a twig inside of there. And you kind of jump in there. It was a little ouchy. So now afterwards I learned you got to check the pile first. But there's a story when I was in first or second grade about this older gentleman who lived at the end of the block. And because he lived at the east end of the block, he got all the leaves. So he would rake them all up. And then in the evening, a Saturday evening, he would call the people of the area, people on his block rather, to come to his house. And he piled the leaves up, and he would set them on fire. And he knew how to do this safely, and the fire would start. And any of you who have been and smelled what the leaves smell like, there's a special feeling you have when you smell that smell. And so everybody's standing around, and the pile begins to get shorter. Thank you, dear angel. Thank you. All kinds of help for the elderly. So the pile was high, and it burns down. And then what people noticed, and the adults knew that, inside the pile was a brick. And on that brick was a baked potato. So he would pull that, rake it all away, and everybody who was present there got a baked potato. He had a table set up where all of the goodies that you put on a baked potato were there, along with other things. And the people who ate that experienced this. This is the best food I've ever eaten in my whole life. Simple. Now, is that exactly true? Not exactly, but at that moment it was. This is the point of the story. This beautifulness that we experience, it's important that we take it to a deeper level. And that's exactly what this man did. He said, even though the leaves have gone and they have fallen, they still give us joy and peace as we smell the burning, as we eat the food that was produced by the burning of these leaves. Everybody who experienced that had a thankfulness about them. And you know what the common word was that evening among everybody who was there? We sure love to do this. The simple statement, we're sure love to do this. That's what we're after this fall as we continue, because it's towards the end now. But may we still look at what is there, being in touch with the world that God has made, and remake that commitment in a new way, that joy we experience over these simple things, it happens because God is present in our world, present to us, and those colors that are present there, even though there is a place like Ace Hardware, you can go and get colors, they never quite match what you see in the wild and in the forest, because God has done his work, and he's giving that to a gift. And his simple message to us during this season is, look at the brightness, the wonders of the trees. The wonder and brightness that you have is even brighter, because you are the ones during the time of the winter when it gets cold. You're going to bring the light from the fall into the darkness so that those persons around you can experience light even though it is dark. That's our goal, to be that light when there is dark. Because the only thing that gets rid of darkness and discomfort is light. And the Lord said, I love you that much. You are to be that light, that beauty, that comfort when it is dark. Don't let that light ever disappear, because I am here.